Today on X-Play, we'll go off-road for some high-flying racing as we go hands-on with Pure. Plus, we'll tell you when BioShock is coming to the PS3 in the gaming update.
And after 10 long years, Too Human is finally here, and we've got our review. X-Play starts right now. Hello and welcome to X-Play, the most watched video game show on television. I'm Blair Herter, filling in for Adam Sessler.
And I'm Morgan Webb. We're coming to you from the G4 Studios in Los Angeles on Tuesday, August 19th. Coming up on today's show, get ready for World War III as we preview Tom Clancy's EndWar.
Plus, Pro Gamer T-Squared is here to tell you all about the best perks in Call of Duty 4. And we've got your all-access pass to break the time-space continuum and steal some pies as we check out the indie smash, The Misadventures of PB Winterbottom. But first, Morgan's got all of the day's top headlines in the gaming update.
Take-Two Interactive has announced the PlayStation 3 version of BioShock will be available in North America on October 21st and internationally on October 24th. A handful of new features have been added to the PS3 version of the game, including a survival difficulty mode, trophy support, and challenge rooms, which will be available to download after the game's launch. Codemasters officially announced a new racing game simply titled Fuel, which takes place in an alternate present where oil is hard to come by. Codemasters is promising the largest environment ever created for a racing game with over 5,000 square miles of terrain. The game is expected to ship in 2009 for the PC, PlayStation 3, and Xbox 360. Next, the official Japanese website for Capcom's highly anticipated Street Fighter IV has confirmed the existence of two returning characters. Fei Long will make an appearance in both console versions of the game, as well as the overconfident and arrogant Hibiki. The console version of Street Fighter IV is being shown publicly for the first time at the Leipzig Games Convention, and we'll be bringing you in-depth coverage all next week. And finally, 3D Realms has confirmed the original Duke Nukem 3D is headed to the Xbox Live Arcade. 3D Realms says the game has passed certification and is expected to be priced somewhere between 800 and 1,200 Microsoft points. No official release date has been announced, but a leaked achievement list for the game reveals a possible co-op mode and rewards for tipping a stripper. Always tip your stripper, boys. That's it for today's game latest news. Be sure to check out our website, g4tv.com/xplay. But now let's go over to Blair, who's definitely an epic loot whore.
I am a whore. Ladies, call me. There are a lot of things that take too long to bake, like cookies. Too Human has been in the oven for over 10 years, but it's finally out and it's piping hot. Find out if I've got the right recipe in this review. And yes, I'm hungry. Too Human may very well be the Titanic of the video game development universe. It's been worked on for nearly a decade in one form or another, from the original PlayStation to the GameCube to finally the Xbox 360. And much like Titanic, Too Human actually turned out very well despite a chorus of internet message board naysayers who rushed to pronounce it dead on arrival.
It is very true.
It may not be perfect, but we've had a great time playing this action RPG. Twice, actually.
I hear you worked miracles.
Too Human takes place in an alternate reality where Norse mythological gods like Odin and Thor are cybernetically enhanced Supermen. You star as Baldur, and you're given the choice to follow either the human or cybernetic path to your destiny. Too Human has a rich, complex storyline, but fundamentally you're trying to protect the human race from insane bad guy Loki who escapes his imprisonment. If you're feeling like the combination of Norse mythology and science fiction are an awkward fit, well, you aren't completely wrong.
All this talk of cyberspace and spirits. Superstition, I say!
Yes, the melding leads to a lot of clunky dialogue. But after spending some time in the universe of Too Human, the setting begins to work really well. And that's definitely helped by the sharp art direction and lush visuals. Plus, Baldur is a badass, a true anti-hero in a sea of imitators. Like we said, this is an action RPG of sorts, but it works in a way that feels very original. You control combat by aiming your right analog stick towards the bad guys you're targeting. To change your enemy, just roll the stick around. The best part is simply options, options, options. There are so many elements to the skill trees, modifying runes, weapons, blueprints, and upgrades that you will definitely want to play through this game multiple times. In fact, we immediately started on our second game as soon as we were done watching the credits.
Indeed.
You can also play two-player cooperatively online, and it's great fun. Unfortunately, we had a few gripes that hold this back from being a 5. All of the elements to a great game are there, they just don't quite coalesce. Firstly, any kind of projectile weapon has distracting aiming issues, and as you might expect in large melee fights, you don't always target the person you thought you were going to. It's not consistent, it just happens from time to time. And unfortunately, the story simply doesn't motivate the gameplay the way it probably should. The boss battles are simply too Diablo-like. You pummel them to death without employing too much strategy. Hopefully we aren't discouraging you from picking up this game. It's definitely worth your time and money. The framework is here for a great sequel, and that's the good news. This is part of a planned trilogy. We're already saving up our crones for the second installment. Too Human gets a very strong 4 out of 5.
Today's racing games are all about being fast and faster, but where are the tricks and the style? Pure is a quad racer that encourages you to build your own vehicle and do stunts that could cause, a maiming or two. We're about to go hands-on for a test drive. BlackRock Studios, creators of the MotoGP and ATV Off-Road Fury series, have teamed up with Disney Interactive Studios for a brand new off-roading title, Pure. This extreme quad racer features big air tricks, amazing environments, online modes with up to 16 players, and the ability to custom create your own ATV from over 200 parts. With real-world locations, extreme racing has never looked this good. Joining us today, producer from Disney Interactive Studios, Tim Fitzrandolph. Thank you so much for dropping by and bringing us this exclusive look at Pure.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, there's a lot of off-road racers out there. It's a popular genre. What really makes Pure special?
So we like to call Pure an off-road trick racing game, the emphasis being on the tricks. So what we've really done is we've tried to take what everyone loves about action sports games, which is over-the-top tricks and sort of, can I pull off this trick? Am I going to make it before I land? And that element, and really incorporate it into the racing. So off-road racing games up until now have had a lot of tricks you could do, but they weren't necessarily important to win the race or to do well, other than just get a high score. And we've really integrated them into our game, so that's the main element.
So how does that work exactly? So the person who finishes first over the finish line is not necessarily the person that wins?
Depends on the game mode. So we do have sort of traditional race game mode where the goal is to come in first place, but we have mechanics in our game that require you to do tricks in order to come in first. So basically what you have is, as you see, we're playing through the game here. In the bottom right of the screen, there's a meter there with A, B, and Y in the case of the Xbox 360 here. As you play through the game and you land tricks successfully, the meter fills up. And as the meter fills up, you gain access to more and more difficult and more rewarding tricks.
How do you actually pull a trick off?
There's really simple controls. So you've got your basic gas, brake, and steering. And then anytime you're in the air, you press one of the trick buttons. So at the beginning of the race, you just have the A button available, and then the other buttons become available. Hold down that button and then press a direction with your steering stick. So any 8 directions, up, down, left, right, or angles. And that will do a different trick. You hold it as long as you want, let go to get back on the bike.
And you can wipe out, I'm assuming, on these tricks?
Of course, it wouldn't be an off-road racing game without nice ragdoll crashes, so I imagine you'll see one at some point during the demo here. And basically, so as you continue, you see he's been landing tricks, more and more difficult tricks. Now he's got the meter filled all the way up. The cool thing about how we've sort of incorporated this is that you can choose to trade off either filling up that meter to make more tricks available, or at any point you can press the X button for boost and choose to use up your meter to give yourself more speed. So the only way you're going to win the race is to have boost. The only way to have boost is to do tricks.
All right, so how realistic are the physics in this game?
We spent a lot of time on the physics, so this is not a simulation game. This is not like some of the previous ATV games.
I can't really do a Superman flying trick on my ATV?
Some of the tricks are within reason. Some, of course, are over the top, as any proper arcade game should. And I say arcade, this is definitely more in the realm of arcade. So the game is supposed to be easy to pick up and play, easy to handle, but have a lot of depth for racing through the tricks and how you combine the tricks. So that being said, the physics are still realistic enough that we have a lot of elements designed for the gameplay. So not only the cool crashes and that kind of stuff that you would expect, but also we have preload, which anyone that's played ATV games will be familiar with, where you kind of use the left stick, you flick the stick to simulate pushing down on the bike to get more air. by preloading, you can control how much height you're going to get off of a jump. And then also, like I said, we have boost. So combining boost and preload, you can control how much air you're going to get off of any given jump. And all of our tracks are designed to take advantage of that. So some tracks, there'll be a separate path you could only access if you're boosting and preload and get perfect height and just clear the ridge to get to the faster area. Some areas of the track you might not want to get as much height and stay on the ground because that area is faster that way. So there's a lot of strategy there.
So what kind of environments are we going to be looking at? I mean, obviously there's going to be a lot of dirt going on.
Absolutely. We even, in fact, have an entire mud system in our game so that your rider and the bike progressively get dirty and dirty as you ride through, depending on what areas of the track you go through.
I think every game should have a mud system.
I'm particularly proud of our mud system. But as far as locations, all the locations in the game are based on real-world locations that people actually do ride ATVs on. You're seeing a track right now from our Thailand location. We have others as well, like Italy, New Mexico. And then each location has a variety of tracks that are vastly different, but all inspired by those real-world locations.
And can you have different ATVs, or is there a standard model that you have?
Absolutely not. We have a ridiculous amount of customization you can do on your bike. So we have this garage, and you actually literally start from scratch. You can pick the frame, pick the A-arms, swing arms, rims, tires, every single component.
Do you have to do that, or are there pre-made ATVs that you can use?
Of course, as soon as you power on the game, you're going to have some pre-made ones.
Yeah.
And then we also have a quick build feature. So if you don't want to pick every single part, you can just hold down a button to pick, build me a race bike, build me a trick bike, and it will just immediately, in like 5 seconds, it will build the bike for you. And then you can go back and tweak anything you didn't like.
All right, when are we going to see this?
Pure will be out September 23rd. Should be available everywhere. And then we'll have a demo on both Xbox Live and PSN a few weeks before it comes out.
Awesome. People love the demos. Let us know when that comes out. Thank you so much for coming by. We really appreciate having you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, X-Play will be back with more right after this.
Coming up on X-Play, we're heading into battle, and pro gamer T-Squared has got your back. Find out what perks you'll need to stay alive in Call of Duty 4. Then, it's World War III. We'll show you how to control the whole battlefield with just your headset in our preview of Tom Clancy's EndWar. Plus, we take you inside a mind-bending, award-winning indie game about stealing pies and bending time. You have to see it to believe it. We go all access with the misadventures of PB Winterbottom. All that and more right after this. Brought to you by Jack in the Box. Try the new real fruit smoothies, only at participating restaurants.
Welcome back to X-Play. Now, jumping into a Call of Duty 4 free-for-all match can be pretty intimidating if you don't know what the perks are. For instance, do you go with Deep Impact or Stopping Power? Now, let's ask the expert. Pro gamer T-Squared is here with a combination that'll make you seem downright invincible.
What's up, everybody? I'm Tom Taylor. But you know me as T-Squared. I'm captain of the MLG team, Straight Rippin'. I've got the Call of Duty 4 tips that'll have you fragging like a pro. Perks can make or break you. Here's my recommendations for perks based on game modes. Here are the perks I like to run with when I'm playing free-for-all. For perk 1, I like to go with frags ×3. In the fast-paced kill fest that is free-for-all, it pays to have multiple frag grenades. When you're holding 3 grenades, you don't have to worry about saving them. What I like to do is spam grenades at popular fighting places in the map. It's a great way to pick up some easy kills. Stopping Power is my second pick. In free-for-all, you have to move throughout the map fast and kill them even faster. With Stopping Power, your firefights won't take as long and you can move on to killing the next guy.
UAV recon standing by.
Next. Finally, Martyrdom. When everyone's your enemy, it doesn't hurt to poop one out and take your enemies down with you. There's no better revenge than taking down the guy who just teabagged you. These are the perks I use when I play hardcore. If you're more of an aggressive player, use Bomb Squad for your first perk. If you're more of a sit-back kind of player, use the Claymores. The Claymores will watch your back and let you focus on killing what's in front of you. While the Bomb Squad is the exact opposite. You can creep up on all those dudes camping in the back of the map and put a knife in their back.
UAV recon standing by.
For the second perk in hardcore, I say go with the UAV jammer. Some would argue against a perk that only pays off when an enemy throws up a UAV. But trust me, if you want to sneak up on the kind of people playing hardcore, you're going to have to be a ninja. Which brings me to perk 3, Dead Silence. What good is being invisible on the UAV when they can hear you coming? Dead Silence will keep all those players rocking headphones from hearing you creep up on them. To put a knife in their back. Follow these tips and you'll be hardcore in no time.
In Tom Clancy's EndWar, Russia invades Europe in a far-fetched scenario that starts with a fictional missile shield the U.S. installs, kind of like what we're doing in Poland, and alright, it's kind of eerily accurate. But on a more pleasant note, this real-time strategy game allows you to control everything with your headset. All you need to do is bark orders and watch good men face their doom, just like in real life. Here's a preview of the World War III action. It's the summer of 2008. Vladimir Putin is talking about building bridges to Cuba to counter the nuclear weapons shield the United States is initiating to protect its NATO allies. This much is true. EndWar features Tom Clancy's uncanny ability to predict an outcome of the shield actually working, ending the effectiveness of tactical nukes. Now that's creepy. Naturally, no nukes doesn't change much in the way of devastation. Currently, this scenario remains in the defense think tanks of the world. But you'll be given a voice too. As opposed to a neocon think tank, though, use it wisely, as it's the central mechanic of the game. You'll need to speak clearly above the fog of war, the cries for assistance, the evacs and airstrikes. You've got to maintain focus on strategic dominance. The voice command system will rely on a chained order structure.
Yes, sir.
Pick a combat unit, construction detail, or air support, and the abilities of those units will prompt you for further commands. What really makes this work is the speed with which the game reacts. When you call upon a unit, your perspective shifts, at which point you can evaluate the situation before breaking off other units to assist them.
Taking sniper fire.
Longevity will improve the hardened lot of warriors, and the makeup of your force is fully customizable. Ubisoft is promising a massive online experience, featuring a persistent world that you and your personal allies will be able to play in for months. EndWar looks like another brilliant salvo from one of the most anticipated fall seasons in recent memory.
G4 Stay Out of the Sun summer continues with X-Play August Gaming's Mega Month. Monday, we're going to take you guys inside Leipzig, the world's largest gaming expo, with hands-on demos of Dead Rising for the Wii, Tomb Raider Underworld, and more.
Then we head to the Pacific Northwest for the Penny Arcade Expo. You'll meet the PAX 10 and see how some of the best indie games were created. We'll also have brand new demos of some of the fall's biggest games like Left 4 Dead and Fallout 3.
Do not miss X-Play's August specials continuing Monday at 8, only on G4. Head to g4tv.com/xplay for info and airtimes.
Now, after the break, we do a little time travel for the sake of stealing pastries in the new indie game, The Misadventures of PB Winterbottom, so we'll be right back.
Then you dug this, cause I'm all about the nerd life, word life. If you dig this, then you dug this, cause I'm all about the nerd life, word life, yeah. G4 X-Play.
Welcome back to X-Play. The Misadventures of PB Winterbottom is an indie game that has three of my favorite things: silent films, stealing pies, and time travel. And believe it or not, this old-timey fun was actually created by a handful of college students. Here's your all-access look at all the dastardly thievery.
Recently, we got to talk to the guys behind one of the year's biggest indie games, The Misadventures of PB Winterbottom.
The Misadventures of PB Winterbottom is basically a game about two things: stealing pie and breaking the time-space continuum to steal pie.
PB Winterbottom, from birth, has always loved pies, and one day he steals pie from a baker who hates him, and so this baker poisoned his pie, and it made him unstuck in time. From there, PB Winterbottom learns that he can make clones of himself that exist several places in one time, so he could actually steal pie simultaneously with lots of himself.
So basically, you can the player can record themselves in time, and you can be in 5, 6, 20 different places at once to get 20 different pies at one time. You can actually interact with all of your past selves, so you can do things like stack on top of your head, or you can use your trusty umbrella to smack yourself all around the level. You can use teeter-totters and other environmental objects that you need two people to use by yourself, so it's essentially a multiplayer, single-player game.
And Mr. Winterbottom has certainly come a long way this year.
It's been a phenomenal year. We started out just with a team of 5 students in the basement at USC.
And so really it was just that hurdle of saying, this is ambitious, can we do it? And taking the plunge saying, hell yeah, we're just going to go forward, and it's worked out.
Well, they made it out of the basement, and we can't wait to get our hands on Mr. Winterbottom.
Tomorrow on X-Play, one of gaming's most popular franchises is back in a big way. We'll show you what to expect for the reboot of Ubisoft's Prince of Persia. Then we take to the high seas for some good old-fashioned plundering in our all-access look at Capcom's Age of Booty. Then Kristen Holt's got your first cheat for Too Human. She'll show you where some of the most epic loot is hidden and how to get it. Plus, Quato better watch his ass because Mars is about to explode. In our preview of Red Faction Guerrilla, you'll get the latest on the game's destructible environments and more. It all starts at 8. Don't miss it.
Now, I know we just had the review of Too Human today, but I think it's very pertinent that we have a cheat tomorrow because that game is ridiculous.
It's a lot of fun, though.
Oh, and loot is awesome.
Loot's awesome, and the names of it are great.
I can't even remember any of them.
No, because they're also ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, right now, you guys make sure to check out GeForce Star Wars in Japan Celebration